It's our ability to do things despite all the chaos around us and all of the nonsense that you are telling yourself are the reasons why you can't live the life that you actually want to live. And I'm going to very politely, very succinctly, and very articulately tell you it's bullshit. I'm Brian Panuzzo. I help executives inside of corporate America get wealthy in their mind, their body, and their relationships. I am an expert at this because I did it myself. I sat in your seat for 2 decades. I am not special. If I can do it, so can you. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to the Success Lift podcast. Like I said, I'm your host, Brian. It's August. Another month is down, in the books, gone, never to be had again in our lives. We are seven full months into 2024. We are way past the halfway point. We are pushing into the middle of the third quarter. And sooner or later, real fast, we're going to be in the fourth quarter. And the trouble with this month for me, for a lot of people, and I fall victim to this myself sometimes, I would say, not as often as I used to. Certainly not this year because I am preaching it to the people that I work with. And I'll tell you real quick, it's not going to be as powerful as hearing from me on a weekly basis like my clients get to. But this is typically a lost month for a lot of people. Now, rightfully so, it should be a month that could be a bit slower from a work perspective. Corporate America tends to slow down a little bit. Financial markets, although we always can't control that, financial markets tend to slow down. Sometimes there is extreme volatility in August because the fact that the major decision makers aren't in, liquidity is lower. When liquidity is lower, we can have bigger swings, as we all know. But in general, things tend to slow down. And you are either spending less time in the office because you're out on vacation. Maybe it's your 2-weeker. We are approaching 2-weeker season. More on that next week from me. For my non-financial market participants, my non-big bank employees, that's when the Wall Street crowd is told that they need to leave the office for 2 straight weeks. It's kind of a hoax, in my opinion. But hey, I got to do it, and so I'm going to support it, all right? And so this tends to be a time where we disconnect a bit. And when we disconnect a bit, we're able to reflect a little bit more. This is probably other than maybe a vacation, which you're effectively going on, but a vacation other times of the year, and maybe a few moments on some sort of milestone, an anniversary, a birthday of yours. This is probably the most time we get to slow down and reflect as busy executives, busy professionals, other than maybe, New Year's Eve, right? That week, those few days between Christmas and New Year's, when this like spirit of renewal and growth and change, and I'm going to figure it all out this year again. And most people who say that right now are sitting in the same fucking spot that they've been in and they were in 7 months ago, which is why the notion of, changing everything in your life on January 1st is just so utterly absurd. But more on that in December. What this moment allows you to do, this time in August, allows you to slow down a little bit. It allows you to be a little bit more reflective. And so I want to give you some thoughts over the next couple of weeks about some things that maybe you can think about and some ways to shift your mindset to think of doing things anyway. Today, I'm going to talk about the power of and the word and, Jesus Christ, A-N-D, all right? The power of and. I'll phrase it in a number of different ways. I'll call it emotional stamina. My clients have heard me say this ad nauseum, but it's our ability to do things despite all the chaos around us and all of the nonsense that you are telling yourself are the reasons why you can't live the life that you actually want to live. And I'm going to very politely, very succinctly, and very articulately tell you it's bullshit. Okay? It is bullshit. But before I do that, this can also be a season of separation. And so I've been harping with my clients that this is separation season for us. This is when we are able to put some distance in between today's version of us and the version that we want to become. Or I guess that would be closing the gap. The distance between who we are right now and where we ultimately want to go. We want to increase that distance and we want to close the gap. This is why I'm giving you some hand signals now. If you're on YouTube, you're able to see me save this whole analogy with my hands. You're able to close the gap between where you are today and who you want to become, what you want to achieve. And so August is a critical month for a lot of people, in my opinion, because it's so easy to just mail it in. It's so easy for us to hang it up. It's so easy for us to just say, it's the summertime. There are these obligations that I just can't change my behavior around. Quite frankly, you may want to do some of these things. You may have been building your entire year so far, year to date, towards some of these events, and maybe that's warranted for you to behave a certain way. But what August does bring you and me is more time. And it is the one major thing. There are a couple of issues that we all have as busy professionals. And while you think all of your problems are generic, are unique, they feel unique to you, but they are all chunk up to the same couple generic issues that we all face, whether you're a man, woman, married, not married, whatever profession you're in, inside of a high performing, difficult, stressful career that has demands on you. And one of those is you don't feel like there's enough time. You don't have enough time in your life to do all the things that you say that you want to do. And while I know that that's not true, and I break that down for you, break that belief and show you another way inside of my programs with my clients, because I did it myself. Remember, I sat in your seat. I changed my life. I sat in your seat for 20 years. You cannot tell me it's not possible. Yes, my life looks different today as you see it. If you are paying attention to me on a daily basis on LinkedIn or Instagram, you can go check me out at Brian Panuzzo. If you're watching or listening or reading some of the things that I talk about on my daily email, go to thesuccesslift.com/join if you want to get some daily fire to your email inbox at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. But the majority of the work and the transformation and the change that I made happened right in your seat. In air quotes, your seat, whatever seat that may be. For some of you, literally it's the same exact seat, because you do exactly what I used to do, or something not too far off from it. For others, it's slightly different. You're the CEO of a company. You're a doctor. You're a lawyer. You're a dentist. You're a medical medical device salesperson. You run teams. You have responsibilities. You feel like there isn't enough time for you in your day in order to get the things that you need to get done, to be the person that you want to be outside the office. Remember, I help you get wealthy in your mind, in your body, and in your relationships. I help you get as wealthy outside of the office as you've gotten inside of the office. And August gives us a little bit of that time to do that. And so whether or not you're checked out and on the beach and enjoying your 2-weeker, or you're in the office because you took your 2-weeker in July, or you're doing your vacations at other times because, which is not a bad idea, by the way, taking your vacations at other moments of time, allowing everyone else to go away in August, and then you have a lot of free time to yourself inside the office. You don't have to work as hard. I did that a couple times. It wasn't a bad idea. Now you're the lone wolf in the office sometimes, but you get to leave a little bit early, maybe. You get to certainly not work as hard. You get to focus on other things, other areas of your life. This is when you might be able to do some lunges and push-ups on the trading floor, inside the office. Not as many people are there, right? You can augment your behavior a little bit. Again, more on that next week. But this is separation season from now until Labor Day, okay? So take advantage of it because you got a whole month, literally a whole month from the time this drops, August 5th, 2024, until Labor Day. I don't even know when it is, but it's probably September 5th, 2024-ish. You got time. And that's exactly what I want to tie it back into. I want to talk about today the power of and in your life. A-N-D. Spelled it right this time. I constantly hear so many people say things, say the phrases or the words because of, since, due to, because of work, because of that dinner that I had out, due to friends being in on the weekend, since we had to go here for the next couple of days, because of work, because of kids, because of my social requirements, I couldn't do X, Y, Z. The plan that I had set forth on Sunday or Monday fell apart. I tried to. I might be able to. And it is the softest, weakest language that you can have as a high performer. You don't use any of that crap inside of your career. You use definitive language. You do things no matter what. You use this power already. Now, I've talked about the 4 traits. I talked about them. I mentioned them last week, and I did an entire podcast episode on it a couple of months ago. Welcome to my TED Talk. Go check it out. You have 4 characteristics that you've exhibited as a successful professional. I don't give a shit if you've been a Wall Street trader or a plumber, all right? Or anywhere in between. No disrespect. I wasn't saying the plumber is the bottom of the barrel, guys, all right? Shout out to my plumber. I got plumbers that listen to the show. I love you guys. My point is I was looking for 2 completely different traits, 2 completely different jobs. You've had specific goals. You've followed some form of defined plan. You've had mentors that have showed you the way. You've accepted that it's going to take time. You can't run your own team of plumbers on your second month of the job. You can't run a desk. You can't become a managing director. You can't, do all the things that 20-year veterans do in your first year or 2. I'm not aware of anyone ever being able to do that. Please let me know if I'm wrong. And then the 4th thing is you regularly exhibit the characteristic of grit, of doing it anyway, of showing the F up when you don't feel like it, when you got the sniffles, when the kids didn't sleep very well, when, you just you're tired, you're stressed, you still take the call, you still show up to work, you still do the thing, but you abandon your personal protocols. And I want to tell you that there is tremendous power in this concept of and. The month of March was really difficult for us as a family. We lost our dog. My whole family was sick for 2 weeks. I didn't get it so bad. Athletic greens, move your ass, eat real food, prioritize sleep. You don't get sick as much. My back was out. Back was all jacked up. I really struggled in the month of March. We had to put our dog down. It was a very, very difficult month for us. I came out of that month with more confidence. And quite frankly, I am where I am right now because of the month of March. In my business, the last several months have been record-breaking for me. My personal, my physical body, best shape I've ever been in by a fucking mile. My marriage, best it's been ever. 20 years of knowing each other. Are they directly correlated to March? I don't know. Do I believe March had an impact? Absolutely. Because when you do things anyway, when you do things despite all the chaos in your life, the level of confidence that you are able to create for yourself is unimaginable. And the only thing I can do is beg you to actually experience it once, because you won't want to let it go. And you'll look for reasons to do it again. And so having structure in your life, having rules, having standards gives you a level of flexibility and freedom. The more structured I am, the more I follow my protocols, the more I'm able to chill out, the more I'm able to enjoy some of the things that I love to do, the more I'm able to smoke a cigar and have 3 glasses of Sauvignon Blanc, which is what I did last night on a Sunday. I put ice in my Sauvignon Blanc, by the way. Makes it just a little bit more, soft. I like my white wine cooled. I like it cooled. Stop doing things because of, or stop not doing things in your life because of, due to the circumstances. Fuck that shit. Due to the circumstances. Due to the circumstances, I did everything I said that I was going to do. This concept has been described to me as emotional stamina. It is the ability, the skill, make no mistake, this is a skill that you develop. You will not be as good at it as I am. I've been doing it. It's a skill you develop. No matter how fucked up shit gets in your life, no matter how chaotic life gets, no matter how many curveballs life throws at you, you have the ability to stand back, have that little, like really, really cocky smirk on your face and go, nah. As my friends would like to say, nah, son. No way. No way. There is no chance that I'm letting this set of circumstances that are completely outside of my control affect the things that I have control over. And I've said this before, it is the tragedy that I see with high performers. You allow aspects of your life that you are not in control over to affect the things that you can control. You allow aspects of your job that have nothing to do with what you put in your mouth to affect what you put in your mouth, that have nothing to do with you getting up and going to the gym, that have nothing to do with you going to bed instead of staying up and watching Netflix, that have nothing to do with whether or not you drink a bottle of wine tonight, and you allow it to affect what you do. And to me, that is the biggest tragedy that you can have, because you're within control of all of it. Absolutely all of it. And so whether or not you are successful has nothing to do with the circumstances in your life. By the way, I think the garbage men are here. And so if you can hear some beeping going on, there's just a little action going on outside. I've been trying to ignore it, but it got to me. So because of the beeping, I'm going to mention it. But I'm still going to do the things that I say that I'm going to do, which is continue this goddamn podcast, because I'm in control of my response. I could have not even mentioned it. I could have just kept going. But we'll see when this recording comes out. I'm quite certain you can hear some beeping going on in the background. They are literally right behind me right now. Right behind me. Okay? So, to sum up, because I want to keep these August episodes short and to the point, right? To sum up, the power of and, emotional stamina, it'll change your life. Absolutely change your life. Because no longer will you be subject to things happening around you. Now look, this requires a defined plan. This requires you to actually have a realistic structure in your life and not wake up on Monday and say, I'm going to go to the gym 12 days this week. And not wake up on Monday and say, I'm going to fast for 72 hours. And then I'm just going to drink celery juice for another 2 days after that. And then after that, I'm just going to eat birdseed. Clearly, that was about as dramatic as I could make it and as stupid as I can make it, but it's not far off with some of the dumb shit that people do. And so I would advise you to have a plan that you can execute and that will fall on your, that you can fall to on your worst day. And so one of the keys to this is actually having a plan that you can execute. Because remember, adherence is going to be your number one superpower. Can you adhere to the plan? If you can't, what are we talking about here? We're just going to go into 2 weeks of this, then be off for 4 days, then be on for 2 days, then be off for 7 days, then be on for a week, then be off for a month, which is how everyone lives their life. And so having a sustainable plan that you can adhere to is likely step number one. And then it's just do it. Do the goddamn plan. The plan works. Work the plan. It only works if you keep doing it over and over and over and over again. But we stop. We start. We stop. We try to get too aggressive. We try to lose 15 pounds in a month when it took us a year to put on the 15 pounds. When we write all these things down or say them out loud and not just to ourselves, you realize how stupid some of them are. What in your right mind gives you the thought that you're going to be able to execute a goal in 3 months that took you 10 years to accumulate? A deficit, a debt. You're going to pay that off in 3 months? It doesn't really work that way. So the power of end will be an incredible, incredible force for you in the month of August when it's easy to do. Start doing this stuff when it's easy to do. At least you build some momentum. You build a belief. You build some evidence that you are who you say you are. You can't convince me of that I'm not. You just can't. I have too much evidence to support it. I've talked about this before. I now am accumulating enough evidence to believe I am him in areas of my entrepreneurship and my building of my business. 3 years ago, I wasn't as sure. Real talk. You could have convinced me that I may not make it. I may not make it. I don't think you can right now. I have too much evidence to suggest that I'm right. I have too much evidence to suggest that I'm on a trajectory that will not stop because of all the things I'm doing in my life. So you need evidence. The evidence comes from doing it. That requires you to do it when you don't believe it, just at first. So for the next 30 days, and I'll talk more about this next week, but for the next 30 days, please just make a commitment to do it, to take some action imperfectly, aggressively, sustainably. When things come up that I would like to say, don't expect, but let's be honest. When are we going to stop to not expect it anymore and just expect it? Life is going to throw curveballs at us. That is a fact. So just plan for it. Just know that it's coming and know that you have the tools to be able to handle them because you've done it before. And if you haven't done it before, the only way to do it is to do it. So you got to do it once, not believing you can. Then you do it. You might not believe it the next time, but you still do it anyway. The third time, you're like, I did it twice. Maybe this is just a freak trend. Let me see if I can do it again. You do it again. All of a sudden, you have 3 or 4 or 40 or 50 or 4,000 examples of you doing it despite the things going on in your life. And then it becomes a game. And then you laugh at people when they say dumb shit. And then you show them that they can track their food for 400 or something plus straight days, no matter where they are, where they travel, what environments they're in, golf tournaments, business trips, client dinners, vacations. I don't give a shit. I just put stuff into an app. How fucking hard is that? So stop telling me, clients included, stop telling me it's hard. It's not hard. I've done it. 400 and something plus straight days. What are you possibly talking about? That you can't do something. I couldn't get a workout in. There was no hotel gym. Awesome. Do some push-ups, then stick your back leg on one of the chairs in the hotel room and do a lunge up and down. That's called a Bulgarian split squat. You'll fucking curse me after you do about 15 of them, if you can do 15 of them. Do that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. 20 minutes later, you tell me if you got a workout in or not. Come on. What are we doing? What are we talking about here? Restaurants serve lean steak and grilled chicken, just about every single one. Most of them serve salmon. Most of them have shrimp cocktail. Most of them have vegetables. Will there be added calories in all of these things because they use sauces and oils and all this shit? Of course there will be. But is that an excuse to just go order like a fucking slob? But that's what we do because we're like, oh, I'm out. I'm at a restaurant. Screw it. There's no good choices here. Really? There are no good choices. There's no good choices? Like maybe at a cheesesteak place in Philly. Do I get whiz or no whiz? I mean, that might be your options. In that case, I'd go double whiz. Enjoy the fucking cheesesteak and move on with your life. So like, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? You can do it. I promise you can. If I can, anybody can. Appreciate you. Have a great week. I'll see you back here next week.